Lagos, Nigeria, 2009. The rain had a strange way of cleansing the streets of Makoko. In the heart of this floating slum, the rooftops rattled under the sky's weeping, and smoke from cooking fires twisted into the wind like ghostly fingers. Mama Tandy clutched her tattered shawl tighter around her shoulders as she trudged down the flooded pathway. The muddy water lapped around her ankles, soaking through her worn slippers. She moved quickly, not out of fear, but urgency. The market had closed early, and her plantains were still unsold. As she turned the corner past the collapsed shack near the mosque, a sound stopped her cold. A baby's cry. Shrill, piercing, not the common cries of hunger she was used to, but something panicked, frantic. She spun around, eyes scanning the murky alley. The cry came again. Louder. She moved toward the sound, heart thumping, her hand reaching into the folds of her wrapper for the rusted kitchen knife she always carried. There, wrapped in damp pink fabric, tucked beneath a broken stall table, was a baby girl, no more than 2 years old. Her eyes were wide, terrified. Her lips trembled, and rain mixed with tears on her chubby cheeks. "Oh Lord Jesus," Mama Tandy whispered, kneeling. "Who would leave you out here?" She reached out gently. The baby didn't pull away. On the girl's neck hung a delicate gold locket, etched with the initials ZA and a faded engraving of a lion. Victoria Island, same night. The Adeyemi household was in chaos. "We've searched the entire venue," shouted one of the security men. Mrs. Adeyemi collapsed into her husband's arms. Her face was streaked with mascara and rain. "Zara. She was just beside me. 1 minute I looked away." Mr. Adeyemi's fists clenched. "Find her. I don't care what it costs." The birthday celebration had turned into a nightmare. Balloons sagged in the rain. Guests had already begun to leave in silence. A child had vanished in a blink. Makoko, weeks later. No one came looking. No posters, no police, no reporters. Just the girl, who slowly stopped crying at night. Mama Tandy named her Zara, after the name on the locket. No one in the slum questioned where the child had come from. Children appeared and disappeared in Makoko like shadows. Zara grew. Her skin bore the sun's kiss, her hair curled wild and beautiful. Her smile was cautious, but her spirit was sharp. She helped Mama Tandy in the market. She learned to run barefoot without stumbling, to balance tomatoes in bowls on her head, and to avoid the older boys who mocked her for the way she spoke. "You speak like you from the island," they teased. Zara ignored them. She kept the locket hidden, always. It was her treasure, her only mystery. Years later, age 15. The wind howled through the tin roof of their home, but Zara didn't flinch. She was used to the noise. Instead, she studied by candlelight, her worn-out textbooks open on her knees. Mama Tandy watched her from the doorway, a quiet pride in her eyes. "You read like you're trying to run away," she said. Zara looked up. "Maybe I am." Mama Tandy chuckled. "You were always meant for more. I knew it the day I found you." "Do you think someone is looking for me?" Zara asked quietly. The question hung in the air. Mama Tandy walked over, kissed her forehead. "Even if they were, would they love you more than I do?" Zara smiled. "No. Never." But in another part of the city, a retired detective stared at an old photo, a baby girl with curls and a lion-etched locket. He picked up his phone. "I think I've seen her." The Danfo jolted violently as it hit another pothole, jerking Zara forward. She clutched her backpack tightly to her chest, her fingers gripping the frayed straps like a lifeline. The morning humidity turned the bus into a moving oven, filled with bodies pressed too close and a faint stench of sweat, petrol, and roasted groundnuts wafting from outside. Her school blazer, though neatly washed, clung uncomfortably to her skin. She didn't complain. She never did. Complaining didn't change anything. As the bus sputtered to a stop near the polished gates of Royal Heights Academy, Zara stepped down carefully, avoiding a puddle of oil on the tarmac. Behind her, the polished Range Rovers and Lexus SUVs of her classmates glided in like royal chariots, each one polished to a mirror shine. Their tinted windows shielded laughter, music, and lives she could only observe from the outside. The security guard at the gate, Officer Jide, gave her the usual once-over. Not hostile, just a quiet skepticism, as if her presence somehow chipped away at the prestige of the school. "Good morning, sir," she said, with practiced politeness. He gave a small nod and opened the gate. "Bag check." Zara opened her bag and let him inspect her dog-eared textbooks, lunch in a reused ice cream container, and one well-worn novel she borrowed from the public library. Satisfied, he waved her in. She crossed the threshold into another world. The school courtyard looked like a luxury hotel, manicured lawns, marble walkways, a sculpture of a phoenix rising from golden flames at its center. Students in pressed uniforms moved in packs, their laughter light, their shoes spotless. Some glanced her way with thinly veiled mockery. Zara knew she didn't belong, not in their eyes. Her uniform, though clean, was obviously second-hand. The hem was fraying. Her shoes, too polished to be new, revealed wear around the soles. She held her head high anyway. If there was one thing Mama Tandy had taught her, it was never to lower your eyes for anyone who thought money made them better. Inside the classroom, the atmosphere was colder than the air conditioner humming in the ceiling. "Charity case is here," whispered a voice near the back. Tosha, daughter of Honorable Femi Lawal, media darling, and queen of this miniature kingdom. Zara ignored her and moved to her seat near the window. As always, she was alone. No one sat beside her. No one asked about her weekend or shared assignments. She opened her book and began reviewing yesterday's literature notes. "Still trying to act smart?" Tosha's voice came again. This time louder. "You think because you read a few books you can be one of us?" Zara kept her pen moving. Tosha approached. Her friends trailed behind, a little court of designer bags and expensive perfume. She stopped at Zara's desk and leaned in. "You know what your problem is? You think struggle is cute. It's not. It's pitiful." Zara raised her eyes slowly. Calm. Measured. "And you think money hides insecurity. It doesn't." A sharp intake of breath. One of Tosha's friends giggled. Before anything else could happen, a voice cut through the tension. "Ladies, take your seats." It was Mr. Bello, their literature teacher. "We are starting with Macbeth today. Tosha, you'll read Lady Macbeth's lines." "Zara, Macbeth." Murmurs followed. Mr. Bello always gave Zara important parts, not because he pitied her, but because she earned them. Class continued, but the tension between the girls simmered like Lagos traffic at midday. Zara's performance was flawless. Her voice steady, emotions sharp. Mr. Bello nodded in approval. As the bell rang for break, Zara began to pack her books when a boy's voice spoke behind her. "Nice burn earlier." She turned. It was Jay. He was tall, lean, with a sharp smile and eyes that noticed everything. She'd seen him around, not rich, but confident. Rumors said he came from a Gij, another slum. "You spoke like you've been practicing that line." Zara smiled faintly. "Maybe I have." Jay extended a hand. Jay. Jay with a Y, not Jay with a spoon. Despite herself, she chuckled. She shook his hand. Maybe today wouldn't be so lonely. The cafeteria buzzed with noise, plates clattered, students gossiped over imported snacks and steamy jollof rice. Zara sat in the far corner near the window, poking at her lunch, plain rice with dried fish, wrapped in old newspaper. She didn't mind. She had eaten worse. From across the room, Tosha watched her like a hawk eyeing prey. "Who does she think she is?" she hissed to her friends. "She embarrassed you," said Naomi, the one who always echoed. "She humiliated me," Tosha snapped. "In front of the whole class." She stood, heels clicking, and made her way toward Zara. Jay, from another table, noticed and slowly stood too. "Hey, slum princess," Tosha said loudly, standing over Zara. "Did your fish die twice or just smell like that?" A few students laughed. Zara kept eating. "Oh, I forgot. You like pretending you're above us. But your smell always gives you away." Jay stepped in. "That's rich coming from someone whose brain cost less than her shoes." The cafeteria went quiet. Tosha turned. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Try learning some humility before your daddy's scandals hit the papers again." Gas spread. Zara blinked. Jay winked at her. Tosha's face turned crimson. She stormed off, her entourage trailing like confused puppies. Jay sat beside Zara. "Bullies get bored when they know you don't care. But they get scared when they realize you've got backup." Zara smiled slightly. "Thanks. But that might have made things worse. Or better. Depends how much of a fighter you are." She nodded, eyes burning with silent fire. "I've fought all my life." Zara sat cross-legged on the floor of her tiny room in Makoko, the sound of water lapping outside her window and the occasional boat engine sputtering past. The smell of cooking fish and diesel lingered in the air as she bent over her notebook, her pen dancing like lightning. The essay competition theme was bold: "If I ruled Nigeria for a day." Others might write about ending NEPA's outages or paving roads. Zara wrote from her marrow. She spoke of dignity, of justice, of a land where no child slept hungry. She wrote of dreams drowned by class, and voices silenced by privilege. She ended with a line that made her fingers tremble. "A country where the daughter of a fisherman and the son of a senator could sit at the same table, and both be heard." When she handed it in, Mr. Bello looked at her, eyes lingering. "Zara, this is something else." A week later, her essay was announced as the winner. She'd been invited to read it aloud at the inter-school symposium held at the school auditorium, attended by governors, ambassadors, and school board members. It was the biggest day of her life. The day before the event, Zara found her essay missing from her locker. She searched frantically, stomach tight with panic. She checked with Mr. Bello, but he said it had already been printed for the program brochure. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling. The next day, as she stood backstage in her patched dress uniform, heart pounding, her name was called. She stepped onto the polished stage, blinking into the bright auditorium lights. Cameras rolled. Officials clapped politely. She adjusted the mic and began to read from the program. But the words were not hers. Instead of her heartfelt vision, the essay was riddled with sarcastic lines, mocking the poor, championing the rich, a cruel parody of everything Zara believed. The crowd murmured. Some laughed. Mr. Bello stood up, confused. Zara froze. Her throat closed. Tosha watched from the front row, smiling. A whisper passed between her and a student from the tech crew. Zara ran off stage in tears, her vision blurred. Backstage, Mr. Bello caught up to her. Zara, I swear, this wasn't what I submitted. She could barely speak. Someone changed it. And deep down, she knew who. Zara didn't go to school the next day. Instead, she wandered the muddy streets of Makoko, beneath rusted rooftops and strings of hanging laundry, her mind echoing with laughter, sneers, and the twisted words they'd forced her to read. Her vision blurred as she crossed the narrow wooden bridges connecting the stilt homes over the water. The familiar sounds of life, haggling market women, children playing in the water, men hauling fishnets, all seemed distant. She walked until the boards turned slick and the ground swayed under her feet. She sat at the edge of the lagoon, staring into the water. Her reflection was broken by ripples, just like everything else in her life. "They'll never let me belong," she whispered to herself. Behind her, Mama Tandy approached, carrying a bowl of soaked beans. She noticed Zara's slumped figure and set the bowl down. "Zara, come and help grind this for Mama. You're sitting like the world's ended." Zara didn't turn. "Maybe it has." Mama Tandy sighed and sat beside her. "You think I don't know something happened? Talk." And for the first time, Zara let the dam break. Every word. Every insult. Every betrayal. "I worked so hard. That essay was my chance. My voice. And they stole it, twisted it, just to humiliate me." Mama Tandy's eyes, lined with years of suffering and strength, glistened. "My daughter, diamonds don't come out of rivers. They come out of pressure. You think you've lost? You've just started." Zara looked at her. "I don't want to go back there." "Then let them win. You think they're better than you? They only win when you give them your silence. You are not silence. You are storm." Zara's lips trembled. Then firmed. A storm. Zara returned to school. This time, not as the quiet girl from Makoko, but as a storm waiting to be unleashed. She wore her uniform like armor. Carried herself with quiet intensity. Tosha watched her, waiting for breakdown or apology. Neither came. Instead, Zara did something no one expected. She walked into the media room and asked to speak with the principal. "I want to report academic sabotage." She brought evidence, an older printout of her real essay, signed and dated. A recording Jay had taken backstage of Tosha whispering to the tech boy. Texts from a sympathetic junior who overheard the plan. Principal Ajayi was stunned. "We take this seriously." By afternoon, an emergency board meeting was called. Zara wasn't in the room, but word spread fast. Tosha was suspended pending investigation. Her father's PR team moved into overdrive, but whispers turned to rumors, and rumors became headlines. That night, Zara got a message. An email. From a journalist named Nika from City Mirror. "Zara, I read your real essay. Someone leaked it. Would you agree to an interview? Your voice deserves to be heard." Zara stared at the screen. And for the first time in weeks, she smiled. Her voice was no longer stolen. It was being amplified. The City Mirror article dropped the next morning, and it exploded. From slum to spotlight, the essay that rocked Royal Heights. Zara's face, full of quiet intensity, was plastered across blogs, news sites, and TikTok feeds. Clips of her interview circulated like wildfire. "I don't want pity," she said, her voice firm in the video. "I want justice, for every child who's ever been told they don't belong because of where they come from." The story drew in more than sympathy. It inspired. Influencers shared it. Celebrities reposted it. A popular activist offered her a full scholarship. Meanwhile, at school, everything changed. Some students avoided her. Others apologized. Jay became a quiet shield, walking with her to classes. Even Mr. Bello seemed prouder, like he had helped plan something extraordinary. But the storm she started uncovered more than Tosha's cruelty. One day, after school, A woman in tailored ankara and high heels waited by the school gate. Zara. Zara Okonkwo. Zara stopped. Yes. The woman pulled out a photo, faded, but familiar. A toddler with large eyes, dimples, and a beaded anklet. That's you, the woman said. You've been missing for 13 years. Zara froze. The world tilted. What? The woman handed her a business card. I work for the Ease family. They've been searching for you since you disappeared at the Festac festival in 2012. We think you're their daughter. Jay stepped closer. Zara, what's going on? Zara clutched the photo, heart pounding. Could it be? Your DNA test will tell us more. But that anklet, the woman nodded to Zara's ankle, where she'd worn the same old coral bead for years. It was handmade. Unique. Zara looked down. The world she knew began to crack open. And the storm inside her started to shift direction, toward something bigger. Toward truth.